Now, in the storage investing world, what you're going to want to look at, right? And we'll get back to my 5 ways. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about that. But what you're going to want to look at in the storage investing world, okay, is the population. It's all about population. And you want to be a storage nerd, right? Then you start talking the lingo. And the lingo is, what's your total square footage, right? But also the total square footage of a 5-mile radius, right? So this is like a 3 to 5 mile radius. I would say like primary and secondary, it'd be like a 3-mile radius, and a tertiary, it'd be like a 5-mile radius, something like that. You know, it might be a secondary, it might be a 5-mile radius. The secondary is like, there ain't a lot of people there. You know what I'm saying? So population divided by total square footage. All right. So, and that's going to tell you whether or not it's a good deal. Now, that's a very quick analysis, right? That's not how you actually truly run your numbers. You have to learn commercial deal analysis. You have to really learn how to run your numbers. That's the hardest part, is learning how to figure out if it's a good deal. All right. But anyways, population divided by total square footage. Okay. So how do you figure out the population of a 5-mile radius, right? You got to figure that out. So you got to figure out how you can do that, right? There's some softwares, or like you can Google it or whatever. And then you have the total square footage. Okay. And then you have to figure out how many storage facilities are in that mile range. Now that seems like that would be an easy peasy lemon squeezy thing to do, but it's not. Okay. All right. Because guess what? You're going to go online. Boop, 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 boop. I want to buy a storage facility in like Waxahachie, you know, Texas or whatever. And you look up the population. The population is like 5,000 people. And then you count all the storage facilities on Google, and you calculate the total square footage, and you divide it by, divide that number, right? Something like that. This is what people do. Okay. But the truth of the matter is that as many storage facilities that you see online, right, under like Google Maps or whatever, there's going to be the same amount of facilities not online. Okay. And that is called, to me, that's called the hidden market. The hidden market. Okay. The hidden market. So now what that means is that you've got to be able to find those storage facilities that are not on Google Maps. Okay. All right. So that's the question, is how do you find those? How do you find those? And so we'll get into that. We'll get into that a little later. But I wanted to let you know, quick calculation. The answer to this is between $6 and $8 per square foot. If it's a $6 to $8 per square foot, that would be like, yeah, it's a good deal. Below or higher would be like not a good deal. So in the self-storage investing world, you have to understand and look for populations and really try to hone in on which size towns or cities you can afford. All right. Which towns and cities you can afford. All right. And that's number one. And then number two is you have to take the total square footage of that town and try to divide it by the population to see if it comes into a 6 and 8. Is it a good area to be in or not? Right? To be investing in or not? That's the question. Is it a good area to be investing in or not? I'm going to go within a 5-mile radius. I'm going to figure out the population of that area. I'm going to figure out the total square footage of the area. I'm going to divide that and see if it comes into 6 to 8. If it does become 6 to 8, I'm going to focus on that area. And either I'm going to talk to all the owners in that area and try to get them to sell to me, right? Or I'm going to build. I'm going to build. If there is availability to build, then build, right? So we're going back to the new construction here. And you'll notice in the tertiary markets, especially in the tertiary markets, there is a lot of opportunity to build right now. Right, so all of our storage facilities are in tertiary, pretty much in tertiary markets, and we're full. We're full. Right, there's like wait lists. Okay, except for the one that we just bought. That one's not full because it's a mismanaged property. But other than that, everything that we have is a wait list. Okay. So if you have the stomach to build, has anybody done any new construction here? I'd just like to know if anybody's done new construction, houses, or anything like that, put it into the chat. New construction is a lot of work. If everybody knows you've done new, there's a lot of people in here doing new construction. Good. Your new construction is a lot of work and it takes a lot of time and a lot of upfront money, right? You got to borrow that money. Okay. So, okay, good. People built their houses, home builders. Good. Awesome. Okay. So if you have the money to build, which means you will go to a local bank and you will get a loan. And the loan is a new construction loan, right? And you will put 20% down and it will be like 4% interest for 20 years, like a totally awesome loan. And then you will take the next 2 to 3 years to build that sucker because that's just how long it takes. Okay. Now, if you do want to do new construction, if you're interested in new construction, say, yes, I'm interested, then what you're going to do is you're going to have to find the piece of property, the land, right? That's number one. It's like, and a lot of people come to me all the time, like, oh, I got the perfect property to do land, all right, to do a storage facility. I got the perfect land, right? So you're going to buy the property, right? You have to go to the county and make sure, first of all, go to the county and make sure that you can build, right? Make sure the city or the county or whatever it is that you can build, and it's zoned properly, right? So is it zoned industrial? Most of the time it's industrial. We're considered industrial. Is it zoned industrial? If it's not, can you rezone it to industrial? If it's residential, a lot of times you can't rezone it to anything, right? So you want to go to the county, talk to the county, get any kind of test, environmental grading, soils, feasibility studies, all the things that you have to do. And all of that just takes time. It just takes a lot of time and effort and upfront money, because it costs, like feasibility studies could cost $5 to $10 grand. Your soil testing costs like $5 grand or whatever, so you got to just have this upfront money, plus the land costs money. So anyway, but if you can afford that, if you can get a loan, if you have good credit and you have some money to put down, highly recommend just considering new construction, because I'm telling you, I'm seeing it in my students are doing this and then they are baking. I just talked to one person that borrowed $500,000, all right, built 150 units. Took them 3 years to build. And some counties take longer than others. Took 3 years to build. Starting to get it all there, 25% full. They just finished it in the last couple of months, 25% full. So it's growing. It's filling up very, very quickly. And they got it appraised. They wanted to know, like, what is this going to be worth when it's 100% full? And it appraised at $1.5 million. So they are borrowing $500,000 and they're going to make $1 million off of that. It's just insane what you can make with the new construction. Okay. So that's why I love new construction. And I'm also looking into new construction, over and down the road as well. Okay. So new construction is number 3. All right. If you can afford it. Number 4 is conversions and developing. Conversions. Conversions and developing. Okay. So this is like taking old warehouses, like, downtown warehouses in the middle of the cities and converting them to storage. Taking like one of my students has is buying an old Blockbuster building. The guy that owns it now he bought it as a Blockbuster building and then converted it into climate storage. Okay. and he's buying that. And so that is like that. I'm telling you, this is also very, very popular right now. And you can get these retail buildings. Y'all know this because commercial retail is going down the dumps right now. You can get those buildings for very, very, very little money. All right. And over the course of the next year, it's going to just keep dropping for those. Okay. So if you do have upfront money and you want to do a conversion, I highly recommend that you learn how to do that as well too, because those will be very, very, and those are also like, it's a new construction. So you'll be able to really make a lot of money on that in the back end. Right. Okay. Conversions. And then finally, the fifth way is wholesaling. Wholesaling self-storage. Is anybody here wholesale? I think I saw like one person wholesale. Who wholesales here? That'd be good. Yes. Okay, good. Wendy does. Okay, good. We got a couple of people that are wholesaling. Awesome. Okay, Calvin. Awesome. Good. Now, wholesaling commercial is like not the same as wholesaling residential. Wholesaling residential is like you go, you put a house on the property, you get the address, and then you text the address to somebody and say, do your own due diligence. Okay. But wholesaling on the commercial side is completely different. So we, the buyers, I'm a buyer. I expect a wholesaling package, right? So you can't just give me an address and say, hey, I think I get, this deal might be good. All right. You have to put together a pro forma, a package. You have to spice it up and wine and dine all these buyers, because we in the self-storage investing world, we spoiled, right? Okay. So wholesaling, if anybody doesn't know what wholesaling is, I highly recommend that you join REI USA and you start going to our wholesaling training, right? Once you learn how to wholesale, you can wholesale anything. You can, Mike wholesales land, right? We have a Mike Watkins teaches wholesaling. He teaches every week. So if you want to learn how to wholesale, then definitely go to his trainings. All right. But what happens when you wholesale self-storage is that the reason I love it so much is that you just make so much money. So one of my students right now is buying a storage facility. It's a almost 300 unit storage facility for $1.6 million. And he's buying it from a wholesaler. Okay. The property itself is $1.5 million, and his wholesaler that is making $150,000 on that transaction. $150,000. All right, one transaction. Okay, so wholesaling, I wholesaled a property just a while back, made like 65 grand on it. All right, so wholesaling, if you want to learn how to wholesale commercial property and wholesale storage facilities, very, very lucrative. And actually the marketing budget for wholesaling, my marketing budget for storage facilities to get out there and look for storage facilities is $0. Right. Whereas on the residential side, you're spending $5,000-$10,000 to get all your deals done or whatever. Right. And on the commercial side, it's different, right? When you learn how to wholesale property on the commercial side, your marketing budget is $0. Okay. Okay, good. Awesome. Any questions up until now? What documents we need to wholesale? You have to give all the information about the facility. Right. And then you have to show like a pro forma with all the numbers and what is what it's worth. Right. I mean, people are going to want to know what's the cap rate, what's the cash on cash return, what's the ROI, etc. Okay. And then and all pictures, it's a whole presentation package is what it is, what you're going to be putting together, everything and anything that you can possibly put into because we just need as much information as possible. We just do, to look at it, and we'll sit there and we'll fine comb all that information. Okay. But yeah, so you need all the numbers, the deal analysis. There's no comps. You don't do comps because in storage, there's no comps. Okay. It's income based is what it is. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, so that is that. Now let's go back, since we got a few minutes left until the end of the webinar. What I want to do, if y'all are interested, is like show you how to find the hidden market. Would y'all be interested in finding some hidden market deals? While we're here too as well, tell me, of all of these 5, which one relates to you the most? Which of these, like you're like, okay, like I'm very interested in this property, this type of property. Do you have private money, or do you know how to get private money, right? Do you have 20% to put down? Right? That's income producing. Or do you have partners that can partner with you to do these deals? You know, are you interested in new construction? Are you interested in developing? What would you be interested in? Mismanaged, income producing, new construction, conversions, or wholesaling? Which one would be? Okay, Lynn says, I'm really interested in mismanaged and new construction. Good. New construction and conversions. Who? Good else? What else? Opal says wholesaling. Awesome. Yeah, if you don't have any money, you're like, I ain't got no money, then you got to wholesale. Wholesaling is what you do when you first. When I first started, I started wholesaling. Back in the day, that's what I was doing, right? Okay, good. Patrick says income producing in California. Okay, good. Just got to have a lot of money, or you got to know where to get a lot of money, right? For California, because everything's just so expensive over there. Not doable, definitely not doable, but you just have to have money. But I would also just think, if you're in California and you do have money to spend, highly recommend looking also into conversions, okay? Because you can really make some money on that as well too. Marvin says mismanaged and wholesaling. Cool. Leon says mismanaged and new construction. Okay, good.